Hello and welcome to our open event for 2021 to 22 admissions. Now, obviously these are slightly strange times we're still living in, so we're given the option for a physical event in the building, which I hope lots of you have booked in to attend, but also to support those people who don't want to attend because of the current COVID situation or just want a reinforcement of the event that they attended in the academy. So my name is Simon Underwood, I'm the principal, and I'm going to talk you through some of the ethos in the building, what we do here at the Academy for the students, how we work, and also some vital admissions information for you as we move through. Okay, so the first thing to reinforce is where you find additional information for the admissions process and also for further information. So on our Academy website, the Academy tab button just there, if you click on that, and then you'll be looking for Open Event 2021. And in there, you'll find a bunch of resources and further information to give you, hopefully, a really well-rounded flavour of how the Academy works and what we have to offer. My first message is a thank you. A thank you for considering us as your secondary destination for your child. This is an important decision for you and we appreciate that. So thank you for considering us and I hope you enjoy what you've seen in the physical event or via this presentation remotely. Choice. Now, choice is a big thing in regards to admissions as you're moving from year 6 to 7, and that's quite right. It's important that parents and children have the option to choose their destination. Now, obviously, not everybody gets their first choice, but so thank you in advance if you do put us down as a first choice. And like I said, I'll talk through the admissions arrangements later and how the allocations work. The first thing I want you to be really secure on is how we think, both at a strategic leadership level, but every operational functionality and thing we put in place. They are student-based decisions, whether it's finance, long-term planning, curriculum delivery. In the back of our minds and always on the table is it best for our students? What's going to be the best outcome for our students? What's the best experience for our students? So everything we do is student-based. And we do it for the reasons on there, keys for success in the future. I talk to the students a lot throughout their journey with us about keeping your options open to make sure that you've got as many pathways as possible, by whether it's working hard, whether it's catching up on certain curriculum areas or subjects, whether it's accessing our enrichment or personal development. They're all reasons to give you as many opportunities in the future as possible, because what we don't want students being limited for where they leave either at year 11 or at the end of year 13. We want them to have as many opportunities as possible. Now, this is quite old now, but it's still important because the reform a few years ago of A Levels and GCSEs was quite, not radical, but it was quite stringent. And it had a huge impact on how schools deliver their curriculum. So all of our curriculum delivery, right from year 7 all the way up to year 13, is aimed at making sure that our students can get the outcomes that they deserve and that reflect their ability. And that comes, like I said, through quality planning of the curriculum, staff CPD, students accessing certain topics or schemes at certain times of the year, making sure they cross over to make sure they're sequenced learning. And they're all important decisions, and it's our aim and an absolute passion to make sure that the curriculum is accessible and right for every single student. So personal development is a big aspect of our school and also schools around the country. We want to make sure that it's not just academics that we're focusing on. That well-rounded, holistic development of students is hugely important. And we deliver that in various ways. Every interaction with a member of staff is important to us. I always talk about high quality conversations, no matter what topic's being discussed. It could be subject matter, but it also could be standards, uniform, attendance. It could be anything, but making sure that we're creating those well-rounded individuals is hugely important. Lots of this is delivered in our tutor time programme, which is very well detailed and thought out and planned, sequenced all the way through from year 7 to 13 to make sure they're accessing topics, having debates about current affairs out there, what's happening, and making sure that, like I said, they're well-rounded and they're informed about the world around them. Now, culture is important to me personally, and it's something that I like to drive for the staff and the students. Our culture and ethos in the building is huge in regards to what we expect. Now that is supported expectations. And like I said, that could be to do with academic achievement, it could be to do with behaviour, it could be to do with work experience, careers, but our ethos is all about how people interact and react to each other to make sure that we're all supportive. I also use the word community a lot here because we feel that community spirit is very important. Now, some of you have seen me present, whether it's at Corby Business Academy or other schools, have probably seen me use this young man. It's maybe time to phase him out, but I couldn't resist it one last year. But resilience is important to us because we know that things sometimes don't go as planned. Now, that doesn't mean I say I'm talking about behaviour, I'm talking about learning as well. So that diagram or that picture there is an indication in reality about how progress works. It isn't just a straight line. We know that, all staff recognise that. And the ability for students to recognise it's okay not to achieve something first time because otherwise you're not learning. So their resilience and the coping strategies, or whether it's extra revision or understanding of a topic, we know that if we've got that ethos and that mindset that it's okay to sometimes fail, but try again to make sure that you're achieving, that's something that we like to embed here as well. And why do we do it? We do it because we love to see success. Now, success comes in various forms. It's not always about those absolute high achievers that maybe go off to Russell Group universities, or in this case, you can see a Cambridge students. It's achieving the progress that you are expected to achieve and reaching your potential. I don't believe in glass ceilings, so although there'll be targets set, we absolutely want students to try and push past those targets if they can, both in academic and personal development areas. So we do it for these reasons. We love to see student success, and I'm going to talk a bit about destinations in a bit, but my passion and also my pride is about our high quality destinations. Student Senate plays a big role, not just for those on the Student Senate, but for the students who can input into the Student Senate about how they feel about the academy, what's working well, and also areas where they'd like some more resource or some more time. I meet with the Student Senate at least 3 times every year. It's an absolute pleasure to sit down with them. I give them a slight insight about how the academy works and some of the decision making, and they find that really valuable. And then they are then able to then feed back to their student body to make sure they understand why some things are happening. But I really value the Student Senate, as do all the staff. And also those who represent the Student Senate, it's great on their CV when they're looking for applications in the future. So going back to standards, again, some of you may have seen this kind of slide before. We have standards for a reason, and it's because we care enough to challenge. We care enough to make sure that every individual leaves here with, like I said, that well-rounded development, but also ready to enter the world of work or contribute towards society. So whether it's to do with attendance, behaviour or academic progress, we really value your partnership in working with those standards. There's lots of information on the website of who's who and who will be looking after different year groups, and obviously the academic subjects as well. You'll get timetables to suggest who you can talk to about meeting those standards as well. But like I said, it's a partnership between home, the student and us in the building. That triangulation is hugely important to us. So I'm not going to go through all the bullet points there, but it's just, again, just touching upon our ethos and some of the ones that are important. That learning journey together, I've mentioned some of the elements of that, how we like to make sure that it's a togetherness within the building. And then moving down to the shared responsibility and ownership of Corby Business Academy, that's not just with the Student Senate. Conversations around what learning looks like and the reason you are learning and the reason we have standards. It's making sure that there's a partnership between students and ourselves, and that works really, really well. And the no excuses bullet point at the bottom, that may seem quite harsh when you read it as a one-off statement, but the no excuses culture is all about we understand that there are problems. But it's to say, I'm not going to make an excuse not to achieve, I'm going to find a solution, not an excuse. And I say to the students all the time about you will get all the care, the attention, the academic mentoring you need as long as you don't make excuses, and we will find solutions at any point, at any situation. And then just a few other things again, I've mentioned the personal development and the tutor time, how important that is. Those themes also spill over into assemblies as well, which will make sure there's a common thread. either to reinforce or to be reactive to what issues that are happening out in the world, the wider world as well. Our open study areas are great, especially for sixth form students, because during their study periods, they can have access to our staff who also work within those faculty open areas as well. So it means they're always available for extra guidance and advice if needed. Our award-winning library is phenomenal. Now COVID's finished, we're able to open that back up again, which is a great feeling for us. So there's lots of programs that happen within the library. It's not just accessing books. We also access literacy intervention in there as well. And our librarian plays a huge part in literacy across the school. And as you'd expect, we offer a range of enrichment activities. Some of those within session 6, they are enrichment and academic, so you might be targeted as you move through the school to stop behind at session 6 to access extra learning, but also session 6 is there for you to reinforce your creative element of you. I say to the students again all the time, it's important to find your outlet and your passion alongside your academic studies, and that's where we can deliver session 6. And residential trips, as soon as COVID's completely clear, we will start to launch them again. We are starting to do that this academic year already, but obviously the situation is very fluid at the moment, so we're having to react to Public Health England advice and guidance. And just something about our curriculum again. Key Stage 3 is a 3-year curriculum. We find that successful because it helps embed the learning across a range of subjects, and it gives them that extra year to make sure that they can make, 1, informed decisions about their options, but 2, they can also have full access to the subjects they're going to choose because their learning is embedded and they can see those cross-curricular links that I mentioned before. Our growing sixth form, I said that I was going to mention our destinations. One, our sixth form provision is growing every single year, and we're really proud of that. But our destinations, I have to say, are stunning. For the last 2 years, well over 90% of our students have got their first choice destination. Not just a good destination, their own first choice destination. And that comes from the whole package within the sixth form as well, and also our curriculum before that has allowed them to get a good profile of academic subjects and also a personal statement with enrichment and experiences that makes them unique. So some important information for you. Last year's admissions arrangements were slightly different because of COVID, but we're moving back to our more traditional model now. So this is the only slide that I'm going to read to you certain sections because it's important. So the first date is important, and I'm sure you're aware of that if you've read our admission statement, which can be found on our website. The 11th of December is the GL assessment date. That is not movable. That needs to be attended if you want to apply for Corby Business Academy. And some important information there. Students who do not sit the assessment will only be considered for places at the named school once the allocations have been made to all of those who did. Now that is important because that's our criteria. So you need to, in other words, if you want to attend the academy, you need to be in and sat that assessment so we can apply the criteria. I'm going to talk a bit about what the assessment looks like. It's important that it's not a pass or fail. In some ways, it doesn't actually matter what you get. All that test does is place you in a stay 9, and I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. You can't revise for it because it's a non-verbal cognitive ability test, and it's around. It says up there it's around shape, sequencing. It's looking at the non-verbal cognitive ability of students. Important bit of information here for EHCPs or students with EHCPs. You do not need to sit the test. You just need to apply by the normal criteria stating that you have your child has an EHCP. And this is what the GL assessment does. It puts students into 9 different stay 9s. You can see that by the graphs there, the graphics there. And that curve that you see there is an example of a national distribution of ability. Now, within our admissions arrangements, we make sure that we take a full intake of a range of abilities. So it means that the top stay 9 there and the bottom stay 9, we take a certain percentage, which is usually a lower percentage because not as many people across the national range hit those. And then we work our way inwards. So most of our intake percentage will come from the middle stages of ability. Now that is a random allocation. That's important to state. It's a random allocation. And when we hit over our subscription criteria, which is 200 mainstream students, we then apply the criteria and more information of that can be found on our website. The invitation letters will be sent on the dates you can see there. It's important when you receive that information that you follow those instructions and make sure that you attend. Now, if you do have any extra questions about any of the admissions arrangements, admissions@brookwestertrust.org is your email address to ask any questions related to admissions. Okay, and support in regards to vulnerable students or students with EHCPs, we understand that there are sometimes difficulties or preference to have a different viewing. We want to support that. It's important to support those students. That's morally correct to do so. So anyone who applying for the mainstream, if you'd like an alternative tour or further information, please can you email Heather Thompson at that address there, heather.thompson@corbybusinessacademy.org. And if you are applying for our unit provision, you need to email or contact Karen Brown at karen.brown@corbybusinessacademy.org, and they can also talk you through some of the admission arrangements, but also help give you more information or additional access to the building if required. Okay, and just so you know, if you are successful in your application, we always do a year 6 to 7 transition page on our website. Current information is obviously for last academic year when they started, so they got that information available to them for the transition process. Obviously, because of COVID, we're hoping to run a proper open evening this year, but again, that's subject to change depending on the COVID situation. But even if we do run a physical event in the building, we will still make sure there's lots of resources, extra activities and information on the website. So if you want to look at that now to see what we offer if you are successful, please do so, but obviously bear in mind at this point it's last year's information. Okay, so that's it from me for now. I'm also going to present a frequently asked questions and answer session that you can access. That is available on the website as well. But if you've attended the building or you're going to attend the building for our open event, I look forward to seeing you. But if you require any extra information, please contact us at your will. All right, so that's it for this presentation. Thank you. Bye-bye.